Hello, dear friends. Welcome again to Faith Abroad. Today, I am using this my makeshift studio, which is really not a studio, but my library to record in person with a special guest, someone I've been thinking of and praying about to actually talk to in Faith Abroad, and that's Sister Mulenga. You're welcome.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, I'm actually very, very happy that you're here. You have a very wonderful story. Like, I mean, I'm a man, and I don't think I would understand everything that has happened to you. But that's also the reason you're here, to explain a little bit and to testify of what God has been doing in your life. Before we actually go into your story, which is quite fascinating, um, tell me, what motivated you to move to Europe in the first place? And how did your faith play in that decision? Like, did you just move, or what were the reasons? Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. And before we relocated to Europe, we were staying in South Africa.
Yeah.
So by then, I just had my second child, and my husband. Of course, I was working. My husband was working. I was doing some business. It was a comfortable life, very comfortable, and even like my daughter went to a very good school, so life was actually very good. But I think at one point, I don't know, it's just a thought that came, and I was thinking, I don't think this is the right place for us. It was just a thought that I didn't like contemplate. It's just a thought that came, and I think also my husband had the same, almost at the same time. And we just started talking about, leaving South Africa. And by that time, South Africa was still okay. It was not as bad economically as it is doing now. And we just thought of leaving. And I don't even know, I don't know what happened. I think it's a mystery, and I believe God just had a hand in it. And my husband was trying to apply for jobs in the United Nations for some time. And then he received a link from my brother-in-law saying there's a job. I think you better suit for it. Maybe you can apply for it. And then because my husband was like, United Nations, it's these guys, they have their own way of, doing things, and I don't think I can work there. I don't think I'll really get this job. So he didn't apply because he had started, and then he lost the password to his portal or something like that. Wow. And then I kept on asking, have you applied? He said no. He said, but Mega, there are people who are even better than me. There are people in Europe, in America, India has this tech thing, and I don't think. And I told him, just apply. I had this instinct, a very strong instinct, and I thought this was his job. And my husband sometimes also delays, and then on the last day, it was actually the deadline. The deadline was at midnight on that day. Then I just told him, did you apply? He said no, because I've lost the password. And I'm like, I've forgotten the password. And I was like, can't you reset? There's nothing that you can do to reset the password. He said, yeah, actually I can. I said, can you do it? And he did it just, I think, 10 minutes before midnight. Wow. Yes. And he applied, and then we forgot about it. And then I think a month later or 2 months later, he got an interview. And it's not like he was looking for a job, because he was working in the bank, and everything was fine. And, so he was not really, I don't think he was even under pressure to look for a job. So everything was relaxed. And trust me, everything moved smoothly. He got that interview, he went through it, and he got the job. Wow. And we never even announced, because we had a singing group in South Africa. And then we were actually planting a new church. We had the main church called God and Harvest. That's where we were worshiping from. It's a big church. And then we were now opening a new branch closer to where we were staying. It's like we were the people there, and we had not told anybody. So during the nominations, now church planting, because it was a Sabbath school group, now we're getting organized into a group. And then they said, we want Sister Daka to be the church treasurer, or something like church clerk or something like that. Then I said, no, I cannot, because we will be relocating. It was a bit disappointing. Of course, at that time, we were not so sure, but we knew, because now we had to do the permit, we had to do all those things. So we're still not sure. It was not at the point where we could say we can tell people that we are leaving, because we're not 100% sure we're leaving, because there were still permit issues. And then they were like, but why didn't you tell us? And it was a bit disappointing, but finally we managed to travel, all of us. And we were in Austria.
Austria?
Yes, so we moved to Austria.
Wow. I want to come back to Austria, but before I ask about Austria, you were in Austria, you're in Germany, and you're going to also move to somewhere very soon.
Yes.
I'm like, you people are just moving.
Yes, we moved. I grew up in Zambia.
Yeah.
My husband grew up in Botswana.
Wow.
So we met in Botswana.
Okay.
We got married in Botswana. Yeah. Immediately we got married, we moved to South Africa.
Okay.
So we've just been moving.
So from Zambia to Botswana and then South Africa.
Yes.
Austria.
Yes.
Germany.
Yes.
I mean, every time you move, you leave people behind.
Of course.
Every time you move, you meet new persons. How has this experience been for you? Is it like, okay, well, you know that you're going to move, or is it painful? Is it just in you that wherever you go, you know that you're just people who are going to move anytime? How has it been for you? Okay,
so by moving to Botswana, I knew I was going to move. Okay. But I didn't know we were going to move immediately to South Africa. Of course, again, I saw something because I was telling him, I think you need to move to South Africa because I didn't like Botswana. So I was telling him, before we even got married, I don't think I can stay in Botswana. So I think we would rather move to South Africa. And even that one is actually a testimony because everything happened so fast. So we got married. It was a Sunday. And then on a Monday, he got an interview in South Africa. Yes. So he had gotten an interview, but then he had to confirm because we were supposed to go there either Tuesday or Monday somewhere. So he said, but I just had my wedding and then I can't just travel. So we had to postpone. I think it was a Wednesday. And after you've had your wedding, usually you don't have money. So everything had finished. We only had food. But then we needed to travel to South Africa. So I said, no, I can't leave you. I'm going for an interview to South Africa and I can't leave you. So on Wednesday, we started off. But it was a lazy day because he had to work. And then in the evening, we set off like we went because we lived closer to the border. So we couldn't find the bus going to South Africa. We had finished. So we drove to the border so that we could hike from there.
To hike?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were adventurous.
Okay.
So we managed to pass through with border control. Yeah. We stamped our passports. We were on the other side, but there was no pass. Oh. So then, while we were talking, like my husband was talking, and then he actually met a friend. He's not like he was also older in university. So he was also driving to Johannesburg. So he said, kind of, where are you going? Where's your car? He said, no, the car is on the other side. We're hiking. Are you guys serious? But there's no bus. I was like, yeah, we're just looking. We'll find something. Yeah. South Africa is not as safe. Yeah. Now he looks at us. You guys are not serious. I mean, we just got married. Okay, if you're serious, I'm driving there. I would also need company. So, okay, fine. Let's hike. That's how we got on that car and then we drove. And then he was like, have you found your accommodation? I'm like, no, we'll just find when we're right there, we'll find somewhere like an Airbnb or hotel. He said, okay, fine. Then let's go to where I'll sleep and you can book your room there. So we went and then it was in Randburg. And we managed. In the morning, he asked us, so you have your suitcase, when are you going back? So like maybe we'll stay here another day depending on how the interview goes. So we're not so sure. So he said, okay, fine. Since you have to check out, you can leave your suitcase in my bag. So he dropped us at the workplace where he was supposed to do the interview. And then it was a very long interview. Like, so I was waiting in the waiting area. And then he was like, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 hours straight. Wow. So, and then as I was sitting, I saw 2 guys came in where I was sitting. I don't think they even noticed I was there. And then they were like, you know what? We've done what we can do. I think the guy is good. How did you feel? Like, I got the first offer. Like, I had them giving him an offer. Yeah. And I was the first one because I sat there and was like, he's actually a responsible guy. He just got married like a few days ago. So for him to be coming back and going, let's just give him a job. And they said, okay, fine, you're happy. And then they went, And I couldn't tell my husband saying you have the job.
Yeah.
So after that, then he said, okay. And then they said, okay, fine. But they didn't tell him he had the job. So just told him, no, we want to take you out for lunch. So the boss there, like the CEO, took us out to Santon City, and then we had lunch there.
Wow.
Usually that is actually a policy in that company that when you are offered, even if you're not told, they'll take you for lunch. So by us going for lunch, it was a thing that, we had gotten a job that we wasn't told. And then we had our lunch, and then we're like, so I was asking, so where are you going? So like, you know what, I think we are done. Do I need any more interviews? He said, no, I think it's okay. If there's anything, we'll call you. She says, okay, then we'll have to be going back to Botswana. And then the friend actually called because we thought he left. Because I was like, just go with the suitcase. I think we'll just come back and so that we move light. And then he called, are you guys still here? Are you thinking of going back? And we're like, yeah, we're actually done. Then we can still go back together. Wow. So that's how we traveled back to Botswana. And I told my husband, you got the job. I was like, how do you want to say? I heard that. Like, I heard that when they were discussing, and then they told me. I mean, they told each other that they were all happy and everybody was impressed with you. So let's start packing.
What did he say? Did he believe you?
Of course.
Okay.
He did. Yeah, but that was tough. They were like, it was too long, and of course he knew that he had done it, and I told him that I had, but it was like, but maybe there was another one who was getting interviewed, and maybe that's the person they were discussing. Okay. And I was like, but who got married just a few days ago? How can the odds be that, two people are coming for an interview and they just got married a few days ago? I think it's you. And that's how we moved to South Africa.
Wow. So you've been having divine interventions in your life.
Very true.
So much.
Very true.
That moving to South Africa, now to Austria. Yeah. And of course, you got to Austria. How was Austria? The people, culture.
Oh, yeah. It was totally new. South Africans are bright. They smile. This time everyone is happy. And then we came to Austria. Forget about language. No one is smiling with you. And then I have 2 children. My husband needs to go to work. It was tough. It was so tough, and I think it was a growth. I think this is what God was actually preparing me for. Yeah. I don't think if I lived in South Africa, I would actually appreciate the environment or the relationships that I have around me. Because South Africa is home. My mother could just come anytime. Anybody, sisters could come anytime. In-laws can come. But when I was in Austria, it taught me something. No man is an island. Yeah. You need family. You need people. You need people. And there's this thing when you work in the United Nations, you don't, you're like, you have a center. You have a circle, there are circles, and you don't go out, you don't, And I was thinking, I'm not going to manage this life. So I started, engaging with some people, and in as much as I'm shy, and I have this motherly thing in me that I just want everybody to come to my house. So in church, I'll just be inviting people. You can come home for a meal. I'll just be inviting. When I see someone is not talking to someone, I say, hi, are you here? Is it your first time? Please come home. And my husband is like that. So we started, it wasn't so hard. Because at least we had actually one family. It's a Chinese family that welcomed us. They are not even Adventists. But the wife was working with my husband. They're the ones who showed us around. They're the ones who, made us a bit free. They were like, don't depend on this, because they were also Austrians. They are Chinese who are Austrians. And then they just opened up things for us. And showed us how to do things. I remember at one time, because of language, I bought soap. I thought it was fabric soap. So those are the things. It was hard, and actually I was down. I even had to go to the doctor, and I said, I cannot manage to live here. I think I need to go back. And it wasn't so easy because my daughter felt it also. Remember, this was the first time we were moving as a whole family. To children. Yeah. It was just me and my husband before, so we could take risks. We would just move. And by the time we were moving, my daughter was 5. She didn't even know why she moved. We didn't even prepare her. The other one was barely 2. So we didn't even think of preparing them to say, guys, we are moving, because we thought they're kids. And she had a life. She had friends. She had a community. She was in a very strong church where there was Pathfinders. She was in the Adventurers Club. And then she comes, it's a small church. There are no babies. Maybe she's one or two people, babies in the church. And she actually asked me, Mommy, why did we come here? And then I said, we came, it's because of greener pastures. And she asked, what are greener pastures? And I said, it's a good life, And then she says, no, I don't think you. And this is what she said. She was 5. Wow. And she said, I don't think you thought this through. There's nothing good about this place. I don't have friends. I don't have. By the time we moved, she was not even in school because now we had to put her in school. I'm not even going to school right now. And she complained, I don't even have a driver. I don't have a nanny. I don't have anything. This cannot be greener pastures. Wow. And she said, she actually told me, Mom, I think, take me back to South Africa when you're ready. Then you can come and take me. Your daughter? This struck me because I didn't know how to explain. Whatever she said was just as it was. She had a life, and this actually made us now realize to say, in as much as we think children are children, they also have a life. They also need that sense of belonging. It doesn't matter, so you have to prepare. I think it's a lesson we learned through that. Yeah, so was Austria better than Germany, or was Germany better than Austria? I mean, what would you say? Because after that, you moved to Germany. Yes. Yeah. So my husband was working, and because of language, I couldn't work. And I tried. So I went straight into the German school because I was like, university is free here, so I'll make sure I go up to postdoc. So I came, with this. And, it's free, but I didn't know it's free in German. So I had to go to school. And I did, the first year, finished. I finished, I think I went up to A2, somewhere there. And I thought of applying to university. I said, with this level of German, I don't think it's right. So I went back again to A111. And then I thought about it. I'm like, this is actually my second year in Austria, and I'm still struggling with this. By the time it's 10 years, I don't think I'll be able, for me to start doing all those PhDs and all my things for free, I don't think it's going to work. So I think my husband also realized that it was taking it from me. When you have this United Nations card, they call it a green card. I don't know, it's a green card, blue or purple, I don't know, whatever it is. Okay. But it gives you a certain status that makes you feel so protected. Oh, like a diplomat kind. Yes. Wow. So you feel so protected and you don't want to give it up. So if I want to go through the public, then I have to give up that status. And this was the thing. I mean, I'm new in Austria. I don't know anything. I don't even know the language that much. And then I leave this card. But that card, that's where it ends for me. There's nothing that I can do apart from staying at home, taking care of the family. So I thought about it and I said, okay, fine. Let me not waste my brain. So I wrote a new degree. Wow. But then, it was a lot of things, trying to settle in with children and a lot of things. So it was a lot of stress. And but I managed to enroll for a degree. Totally because I came as a teacher and then I went into public health. Because now it meant I have to go into a private school. And then in that private school, Americans have their own way of doing American degree and all those things. And then if I had to go teach in the public, then have the German, then I have to give up. So it was like everything was just not as I thought, easy as I thought. And I think my husband was like, it's not working for my wife. And so I continued with my bachelor's in community and public health. Okay. Yes. So I did, and then my husband decided to leave the United Nations. It was a leap of faith. I mean, with all the security, with that card. Yeah. You said it's a leap of faith now. It's a leap of faith. How was it to you? Were you happy with your husband? No. Yeah. I can imagine, you actually had some great opportunities as a United Nations staff.
protected. And then all of a sudden, the husband decides, okay, I don't want this anymore. I need something better. I need to go to the Republic. I need we can go to Germany, right?
And so it wasn't even Germany. So
it wasn't even Germany. Yeah.
So he, the company that he was working for, the organization that he was working for, you can only work for a maximum of 7 years. So it's 7 years, and then they can, extend for a year or two. Yeah. But then there's a time when you cannot work in that organization anymore. So I was thinking, me being in this organization, I've already done my 5 years, and after 2 years, I still have to start looking for a job and all these things. With the way, the UN it's a government. Yeah. So there's not so much of technology, new whatever innovation. Yeah. With him, he's in tech, so he needs new things. And it was like, I think my career is going a bit down, so I have to move out and then just go to corporate or something like that, and just working and move out from this government structure. So he started now looking, and he had a few calls. So the one that actually came was Vancouver. Yes. So it was Vancouver in Canada. And we're like, yeah, I think we'll go there. But then I was thinking of how far it is. I mean, the weather is okay, but then we thought about how far. And then Poland also came in. And then Germany came in. And Germany was actually the worst. Because at that time, that's when the Ukraine war started. Oh. So we were thinking, okay, so if we have to go, okay, looking at things. No, it was not even it was COVID actually. It was during the COVID times and all the quarantines that were having. So, as we went, you have to go in. Those signs start appearing. Yeah. You know that you have to move away from the cities. Yeah. So one of our church mates, he was an elder, he decided to go to the village in some remote areas in Portugal. And that's the time that we're supposed to come to Brazil. And it was like a lot Abraham thing. Yes, when you've seen signs that actually saying, this is the now time for you to move in. We said we're going to Berlin. It wasn't, I didn't like it. And because I think we still with the German, I said, I don't think maybe it's better just go, because now I'm doing public health. I have to be at C1 level for me to work as a public health specialist. So I would rather just go to an English-speaking country. So I was thinking of the Canada. But now when everything was happening and then the war in Ukraine came, and I was like, okay, now this is the mentality that we have, or I had in the UN, because I was thinking, if anything happens, we'll be evacuated. We'll be given the first priority to evacuate. And now I looked at the Ukrainian war, and that's the time that we're supposed to be going to Vancouver, and I'm like, how far that place is? You don't even have this protection of you going there. Like, for you to be faced, it was, still thinking of diplomat. And I said, I don't think, and now we had to speak to the children. We're like, these are places we have to go, to Canada, we have to be in Germany. And my children said, Canada. Because it's English. Remember, my son studied in a German kindergarten, and then he went to the American school. But my daughter just went straight to the American school. Okay. So, and now we're thinking. So, according to my son, I don't know, he was speaking good German and everything. I don't know, maybe he was traumatized. He didn't want to speak German. So he said, I don't want to go to a German country. Really? Yes. I just want to go to an English. I just want to go to an English-speaking country. I don't think. But I'm like, you're the person who actually translates for us in this house. The German is the one that, we can say, what did they say? And then you are saying this. So they actually didn't like Berlin. And they said it's too big and there were a lot of things. But then we sat down with them to say, you know what, with the war that is coming, and we don't know how the world will take it, and we just have to prepare. If we have to go back home, then it's easier for us to move from Berlin to Zambia. Vancouver to Zambia. It will take, and we don't know what happens. So actually that one made them a bit, and then they said, I think it's better we just go back to Zambia. Wow. Yes. So we actually said, okay, then my husband should come here. And actually the job came had a very good time because it was offering more than what it was doing. Like it was too good to be true, actually.
Okay.
Yes. It was too good to be true because everything was like, and he was thinking, is this company even real?
Yeah, is it this
guy? You know, you had to go through HR, guys, can you please help me? They said, yeah, actually, and when you ask for like, you want to counter offer or whatever it is, like you want to negotiate. He negotiated and they gave him like maybe 2 times more than what he negotiated. And we're thinking,
wow.
Yes. So it was like, like when you're scared, you don't know what, like, you say, okay, let me just do this and see how, and then they give you more than what you expect. And then I was thinking, trust me, I wasn't still happy because I knew, again, it's German, I still have to do C105. And then we went to Zambia. And then he came here first. No, first. So now this is something, like we want to prepare the children. Yeah. Our lives are actually interesting, Pastor. So it's like a movie. So we were supposed to relocate from Austria to Berlin. Yeah. But we needed to go home first. Yeah. Because at least us go rest and then we'll come back. But before we needed to come and check the place to see if the kids will like it. Yeah. So my husband was busy checking for hotels, and then he found A and O hotels. A&O. But it was A and O, but it was hostels. Oh. He didn't see, he thought it was hotel. I was like, I found a cheap hotel. Oh. I found a cheap hotel. So it's like a 1 room with 4 beds and there's bath, but there's no kitchen. It's a good one, and it was looking nice. I was like, I think I'll go for it. It's reasonable. I don't know what pictures they put there. So they put very nice pictures. Very nice pictures. And then, because he was working, we had to come later. Like we had to take the last flight, which was at 21 hours. No, he was actually having an exam that day. That's when he was doing his master's. We took the last flight. We arrived at the airport. So we said, when we go to a new place, we just go with public transport. Yes. We don't do taxis. So we just know if we can manage. So from the airport, we got on the S-Bahn and then we dropped up to Trip Tower. It was on Friday. Oh. Night. Oh. So it was Trip Tower. Oh. It was noisy. Like it was noisy. They were like, it was, and my husband looked at me. It was like daytime. Yeah. People having fun, like it's daytime, but it's actually midnight. So you were shocked, basically. Shocked because remember we're coming from a very conservative country. Austria is very conservative. Yes. 21 hours, everything is quiet. Yes. Yes. Everything is orderly. And now we're coming, it's midnight and people are moving with boom boxes and my husband was now regretting, saying, what if I brought my family to? And it's Trap Tower. And it's Kopnika. There's a street Kopnika. That's where he got that A and O hostels. Okay. I think it was during summer, they had some summer camps. So students, a lot of people were coming. So we got on the bus. It was very noisy. And my husband was thinking, wow, this is now what we call sodomy. This is why they say avoid cities. And now I'm bringing my family to Berlin. To the headquarters of Sodom. To the headquarters, and it was at night. Where you're moving with the children, and my son doesn't have. I was like, oh. And it was like, it was so shocking for him. But he wants to know. When we arrived at that hotel or hostel, there were a lot of people. We couldn't even be passing because it's like everyone was just like checking. That's how A&O is actually. It's like there's a party going on in A&O every night. My husband was like, you know what? It's hostels. And we said, sorry guys. But it was at night. We couldn't change anything. Of course, because I think those were family ones, so it was like behind and it was actually quiet because there were other blocks and we were at the end. Of course, it was metallic beds, like it was two bunk beds, metallic ones, and at least we had our own bathroom. So on Sabbath, we woke up in the morning and then we took a taxi coming to church. So in LC, we knew Tabo because Tabo had my husband's cousin. They went to school together. I see. Okay. So we knew a contact. So then we'll come to church. And then on the way, we got a taxi. And it was a Nigerian man. Oh. And then he doesn't believe in God. Nothing at all. Nothing. He doesn't even want. And the wife is a pastor.
Wow, that's such a paradox.
Yes. So, my husband likes talking to Uber drivers.
Yes.
So then he was like, "Where are you going?" "We were going to church." He said, so what is it that, then he started like, he got interested. So,
Yeah.
what is it that is taking you to church and whatever?
Yeah.
So, he started sharing, and the driver was like, "You know what? I think it would be of interest if you meet my wife. She's a pastor, but I don't believe. But the way you're talking, I'm interested. Can we talk about it when you come back from church at a restaurant, at my wife's restaurant?"
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, no problem. Okay, so I can even come and pick you up. Yes, and they gave us the address. It was Mama Comfort. Yes, so that's how we came to church. And this is how God now, I think this is why now God brought us. So it's like things are just coming and then happening, and then we arrive at church. The church, New Life was so welcoming. And that's when we met Sister Josephina. Ah, yeah, yeah. And actually, that was, I think, the nail in the coffin. She just qualified, or she just made everything solid for us to say, I think we need to stay in Berlin. And then because we were so, shocked, so we started now telling our experiences. Oh, guys, this is what happened. And Josephine was like, Berlin needs people like you. Because I was also the one who was found among the people that you found at AO who were partying in Trip Tower. But I gave my life because not knowing anything about Adventism, not knowing, but because people prayed and I found this church and I'm here. So don't think of going back where you're coming from. Yeah. I think the Lord wants you to be here, and there's a lot of things that you can do. Just that word, I think, it was a lot. It was like a lot of confirmation. Like, it was a lot of things that were just coming in, and we said, okay, fine. And another testimony. So it's like everything, when God puts you in a place, He makes every other thing. Yeah. Remember, we did not want, the kids didn't want this place at all. And whatever they saw even made it worse. But as we are going through the day, things are starting to like fitting in, and, putting is like building blocks, and now it's fitting and it's making shape. We didn't even have schools. So in Austria, we had our pastor, Pastor Felix. So we told him, no, we are going to Berlin. And he said, please go and meet the Ludisches. They'll help you pray. And they can help you settle in. So we met Sister Angel, and then we told her we are looking for a school for the kids. We've not, private schools, there's a waiting list. Yeah. And then she said, we're going to pray. She was so happy. Oh, yeah, Pastor Felix told me, and, we're happy. We'll pray for you. So we said, we're going on Tuesday to look for the school. Like, we're going to see the school. Yeah. And remember, we'd only applied to one school. So if they refused us, we're not going to have anything. So we're going to just see the building and just, make our presence known to them. And then on Tuesday, we went to the school. We even met the pastor sister, and we became family. She's like my mother in Berlin, because from there everything just blended in, and I felt so welcome. And then, so now this is now us making people and meeting people and creating a community now. So it was already started from Ubers and everything. And we went to the school, and the kids loved the school. It was nice. And then we were told still there are no places available. Oh dear. So we'll put them on the waiting list. Maybe they can start in February. In the meantime, when they come, they'll go to a German school. Because in German, you can't homeschool children. Everybody has to go to school. We're like, okay, it's fine, but we didn't know if we were ready for that. But we prayed, and Sister Angie prayed for us. That was Tuesday. On Saturday night, we were flying back to Zambia. On Thursday, when we had gone back to Austria, we received a call from the school. Oh. So the thing is, my son is born in December. Yeah. So he's always a year behind in school. Because yes. So he couldn't be picked for the day he was supposed to start primary. Okay. So everybody went to primary. He was still in kindergarten. Yeah. So he couldn't go to the American school in primary grade. And it was so hard because he already knew how to read. He was like, he prepared himself. He knew everything. Like, he was working at that point because he really wanted to move out of the kindergarten. Because you're saying there are babies there. He was a baby still. So when he went now to the American school in primary, he was way ahead of his peers. So they were teaching him first grade stuff. Wow. In primary. So by the time he did first grade, he couldn't do first grade. He was doing, of course, he was in the first grade class, but he was doing second grade class. So by the time he was doing the math test, his math, reading, English was in like 97th percentile, 98th percentile, 99. So incredible. His grades were very good. Mm-hmm. So when he came here, they skipped him. Oh. Because his math testing was showing that he was reading levels at fourth grade, beginning of fourth grade. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was at the end of somewhere like fifth grade, like the reading and all the math. So they couldn't put him in second grade. So he skipped a grade. So now he's going to third grade. And my daughter is going to sixth grade. Mm. And then when we got a call on Thursday, that Friday we're leaving for Zambia, remember we had only applied to that one school. Yeah. And because of, I think, the testimonials that the teachers, because they were in an American Christian school, mm-hmm. and the testimonials that teachers wrote about our kids, mm-hmm. made everyone's heart like melt. Wow. And they really wanted a good place for our kids. Wow. So they said, based on that, mm-hmm. I don't know, God has a way that he actually arranges things. And then we got news that there's actually, and the lady just said, I don't know who your master is. I don't know who you pray to, but whatever it is, continue. Because there's a family that has left our school, and there's they have two children, one in third grade and one in sixth grade. Exactly the grades for your children. Wow. Remember, my son was supposed to be in second grade. Yeah. So just these two places, and there's actually a waiting list. So we skipped the waiting list. Because whatever it is, there was only a space for third grade and sixth grade. And most probably there was no person on the waiting list who was in those grades. Mm. And that's how we got. And that's how you guys settled down. That's how we settled. So God was just bringing you out of Austria, mm-hmm. to Germany for, mm-hmm. a purpose. Mm-hmm. When it says I know the plans I have for you. And then it's very interesting. God was speaking to you on that Saturday, mm-hmm. From one person to the other. I remember the Bible text that says you would hear a voice, mm-hmm. saying this is the way, go in it. Whether you turn to your left or to your right, you hear a voice saying this is the way, go in. But in all of this, you settled down and God helped you to settle down. Mm-hmm. So you had a very good apartment, you mm-hmm. had good schools for your kids, mm-hmm. you had a community in mm-hmm. church and outside church, so the taxi driver, then there were health challenges. So we have the health challenges aside from all the things that you're going through. So basically you were having a very nice life, even though you thought you shouldn't come to Berlin, the city. People were moving away from the city, you guys were moving into the city. And still it was God's arrangement. But then there was the health. Can you walk us through the first signs of your illness? What made you realize it was serious?
Okay, so at one time last year, mm-hmm. I was in Zambia. So my husband left Zambia in March.
Yeah.
No, in February. Mm. And he was doing some business there, and then he was transitioning to the new job that he had found. Yeah. So he quit from the job that brought us here. Mm. He joined another one. So between that time, he decided to go back home. Mm. And then when he was starting in February, he had asked me to go
to Zambia.
Yes. Okay. It was actually starting in March. Mm-hmm. So I went to Zambia so that I could do the business part while he concentrates on his new job. Mm-hmm. So I went and I was making errands, and I told the kids, so I left my friend here with the kids. Mm-hmm. It was the first time that I left them. So I told them I'm going for 3 weeks and then I'll be coming back. Mm-hmm. And then I went, that 3 weeks, things could not really remain at the point where we could leave them. So we extended by a week, and I told the kids, I'll come next week, that is now in April. I'll come on the 19th because of the things, and it was a promise. Because I mean, they were disappointed. I told them I'm coming back on the 20th, and on the 19th I'll be there. Mm-hmm. And then on the 19th, so our flight was on the 19th in the morning, and on the 18th I was doing my last errands, making sure I give, power of attorneys, signing on our behalf. Mm. And then I just had pain in my right leg. So and I'm driving. It was so much pain that I've never felt. I've been in so much pain and I have quite a very high threshold for pain, but this one was worrying me. And it was in the afternoon. I had not eaten the whole day. So I was thinking maybe it's because I'm hungry. So I'm moving up and down until I felt like I can't move anymore. Oh. And I left my husband at home. So now I'm thinking, because I couldn't really figure where the pain was. So me knowing my body and a bit of some anatomy, so I knew it could be a torsion. Okay. But I didn't know the torsion where. It felt like a torsion. So I felt. What is the torsion? It's the torsing, like, it's like a twist or a coiling. I see. Okay. So it felt like it was not. Okay. But I thought it was in my bowel. Oh. Yes. So how does that connect to the leg? I don't. They never said. I don't know. I don't know anatomy. Yeah. So I knew it felt like that because of where it was. Yeah. Because I don't have an appendix. Yeah. And I knew it's not an appendix. Yeah. So I ruled out whatever it is that could be in the place where I was feeling pain. The only pain I could feel could associate could be maybe it is an intestine that has twisted or it has knotted or something like because I've not eaten. Remember. So I tried to move around and just see how I could manage to go home. By the time I was arriving home, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't even turn off the car. I don't even know how I stopped. And I just told my husband. So he came, I think he saw that things were not. So he came out with a cousin and there was like, what is wrong? I was pale. I was like, I'm sick. And then they said, what is wrong? So my husband now is saying, this is afternoon. In the morning, we're supposed to travel. He said, should I cancel the flight? I said, no, don't cancel. Let me see. I think if I take a painkiller, but I need to go to the hospital. So we had one of our family works at the teaching hospital. Because that's the only place I could go at that time. So that they could do any diagnosis. And so I had to go. So we had to call him and I had to go for a scan. So fast, quickly. It was very fast. Went and they found that they ruled out the intestine torsion. So they said my ovary was inflamed. So it had a cyst. So my right ovary had a cyst. And it was quite big. And then I asked, okay, is it like deadly? Is it fact that I cannot travel? These are normal things, except we don't know what has caused the cyst. It can be an infection or it can just be anything. So it can go away with killers. Is there anything serious? He said, no, I'm traveling, I'm flying out, I'm going to Berlin this morning or the following morning. Is it okay to travel? He said, of course, you can travel. We'll give you antibiotics and painkillers. You'll be fine. So I was given painkillers, antibiotics, and went home. And the pain could not just go. So then we called back our doctor brother. And he says, I said, can you give me something to sedate me? He said, then you won't be able to fly because it needs to be, conscious as you're going through the airport. But I can prescribe something that, you can take, which is tramadol. It will take the pain away, you'll be able to fly. I said, okay, my husband kept on insisting, let me just cancel the flight. Let me maybe postpone. And I was thinking, the pain that I had, you can feel it. The pain that I had needed serious medical attention. And if I remained in Zambia, I was not going to see children. Remember now, I'm thinking I have to go and see my children. I promised them I'm coming back. And I feel like at this point, I'm dying. And if I die away from my children, I don't think they'll be able to get over with that. You really felt yes, I actually felt it because I've been in pain. I've been in a lot of, sicknesses, and this one was different. I actually prepared myself, and my husband was like, "Meg, I don't think you can fly." And I was like, "If anything happens to you, I will not be able to forgive myself." And I was like, "Let's just swap." And we can't just. I'd rather, And now I'm thinking, if I can maybe faint in Turkey, it's okay because then the kids can come over the weekend to see me. So that was what was in my mind. And then on the day in the morning, we packed. I couldn't even pack. So I had now a lot of friends who were bringing things, and my cousins now, they started packing and, didn't do anything. And they were thinking, they were so worried. Like everyone was worried. And then we went to the airport, tried to walk. And then I asked for a wheelchair. The other one told me, if the airline sees that you're in a wheelchair, they're not going to allow you to walk unless the doctor writes. Did the doctor write anything? I said, of course, he wrote that I can travel because I have this, but I'm just in pain and I have pain. Yes. So they managed to clear me. And I went, they pushed the wheelchair and said they can push me up to the door, but I have to walk from the door to my seat to show that I'm fit. I said, it's fine, I'll do that. I was in pain and I sat. When I sat, it's like I didn't take any painkiller. And tramadol is in the morphine type. But I didn't do anything. I couldn't feel my pinch, but I could feel the pain. So like I was numb, but I couldn't, the pain was still there. And that flight was so long. By the time we were arriving in Turkey, I was in pain. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. And there was a lot of turbulence that time. And I think because I was in pain. And I was thinking, how will I walk from the door? And Turkey is it's a very big area. Istanbul is a very big and it's complicated. You have to run at some point. It's huge, it's complicated, it's unorganized. Unorganized. Yes. That's the term, yes. So now I'm thinking, how will I do? But you know what? It was a relief because I knew from here I'll go to the hospital. Yeah. They are going to do laparoscopy. So they're not going to open me up. They'll do cameras, which is more of a non-invasive, it's not like opening because I was worried if they did that in Zambia, it was going to take longer for me. Heal, and that means staying longer in Zambia. But in Zambia, they will open up. They'll open but in Germany, it will be laparoscopy. So I was thinking in Turkey, they'll do the same. So I don't care as long as I'm in Turkey and my kids can fly here, they can see me, it's fine. And I was coming out because I was thinking, how will I walk? I can't even walk. I found a wheelchair. So they pushed me with the first and we managed. And I was praying. I said, Lord, thank you because you've prepared the things that I thought I wasn't going to manage. You've prepared and brought a wheelchair for me. And we arrived in Berlin. It was like a 3 hours one. And my husband said, let's just go straight to the hospital. But I was praying because I knew what I was feeling was death. So I had prepared, but I wanted my kids to see that our mother came back from Zambia. This is what actually kept me. Like, I wanted them to see me talk, not to see me in hospital. Because now I'm thinking psychologically, how are they going to do it? So I come home, I told my husband, no, let's just go. So our niece drove us home. And then we arrived, excuse me. No, it's fine. We arrived at home. I didn't even come out of the car. They came and they started talking. I pretended I was fine. And I told them, Mommy is not feeling so well. She has to go. I did come out of the car. She has to rush to the hospital, but I'll come back. But at least they've seen me and they were happy. Yes. And I prayed. I said, God, I'm going to Charity. Yeah. Because it's the closest that is here. Sorry. Charity is it's closer to me. It's a teaching hospital. Yeah. So there's a lot of expertise there. But I prayed. I said, Lord, prepare the way so that when I arrive, let the right hands attend to me because the way I'm feeling, I'm not feeling well. I knew, but I couldn't, I'm supposed to be strong. I don't want to scare everybody. When after Charity, I prayed, went in. They didn't attend to us. My husband went, I need a wheelchair. They couldn't. So almost at 10 minutes, 15, I said, I'll die here. The Lord has just refused. Let's move. Let's go to another hospital. So we had to go to Vested. Yeah, okay. And I prayed. I said, Lord, you've refused for me to be in a teaching hospital. There's a reason. And I pray wherever I'm going, let it be smooth. Because if I stay like this, I think I'll die. When we arrived at DRK, everything went. Wow. Everything just went smooth. And they examined me and they said, yeah, what they said is a cyst. Actually, it had ruptured. So by the time we had arrived, it had ruptured. So there was some fluid vessels. And then they said, we don't know if it's blood or if it's water. We know it's not an infection because we are on antibiotics. So, and the temperature doesn't show any infection. The blood doesn't show this infection. So it could be water or it could be blood. But we'll keep you. We'll keep you to monitor. If it's water, the body will assimilate it because it has ruptured. Yeah. If it's blood, we need to drain. But we can't drain now because you've had a lot of surgeries. It's just pause and beat. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Sorry. It's the allergies, I think. Yeah. Just the. Yeah. You sure? One is enough. Yeah.
Do you need some air? I could open a window.
It would be worse because I don't know which trees.
Yeah, that's true. The pollen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You sure you can go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So where DRA came, they check, they say it has ruptured, and now there's this mass that we don't know what it is. Unless we go in with surgery, of which they're not trying to advise surgery at that moment because of the amount of surgeries that have undergone. So they're trying to say if it's water, let the body assimilate it. But the pain that I had was too much. I didn't have a hot time, I just blacked out. I didn't know what happened. But they told me I was in shock and they had to bring back my heart or something like that.
Okay, so wait. You passed out.
Yes,
Not because of
the pain.
Not that you got what's it called? An injection that to help you.
They gave me everything and everything.
And it was not.
No,
it's not subsiding.
No, it's not.
Your body just crashed.
It crashed. It went into shock.
And they said they had to.
They did. They did. Yes.
So, Lord have mercy. No, I'm not actually aware of it. So
yeah,
you died.
I died. My heart
stopped.
Yes, my heart actually stopped because I was in shock, and they had to bring it back. They had to push it. The pump. That's the kind of pain I was in. My body could not take it.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. So, in all that, I'm talking. When I come back, I'm still saying it's not the pain that I'm expecting. I'm expecting more of the pain. And then in the morning, because they were still waiting to see if the liquid has gone down. But when they did the scan in the morning, that is now Saturday around 6, 7, they just said, I went, they came, they took my bed, took me to the doctor's room for a scan, just to see if there's any change with whatever medication they gave me and whatever it is. And then she just said, we have to go to theater now. Yes. So I had my watch, I had my ring, I had, everything. And he says, you have to remove everything. I had my phone. It was very fast. She just said, this thing is not getting down. It's just becoming more liquid. So it's blunt. It was, I've gone through surgery. I've done a lot of surgeries. They prepare you. They didn't prepare me. They just said, you know what? You will sign this paper. You've gone through. They didn't even go through to say, this is what you expect. We're going to do anesthesia, full general anesthesia. They didn't go through. They said, you've done this before, right? This is not your first surgery. I said, yes, sign here. I signed. And I'm busy now. I'm telling my husband, I'm going into surgery. You can't go with the phone. So everything is happening. Remember, I'm already on the bed.
Yeah.
They're taking me to theater. This is a Saturday morning. Wow. No, you can't go with the phone. Give everything that they give the nurse. They'll take them to your ward and everything. So I didn't get the phone. I couldn't even tell my husband. I just said, going to theater. And then they said, no, you can't go with phone. And then I go. In theater, there's a place, where they do the anesthesia and everything before you go into anything. So you have to. I didn't go through that. So this
just pushed you.
The lady came.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's going to make you sleep. You've gone through this before, right? So she's talking to me. The lights are on me. Already.
It was such an emergency.
It was an emergency. They had, yes, and they were even saying, this is not how it's done. Because we are in a hurry. Like it's a different situation right now. But you're in safe hands. And she says, so we are not following the protocol that we do. They were disinfecting, they were preparing, putting everything. I was awake. They are talking to me, everything. And I'm thinking, you people are going to catch me before I sleep. I said, no. She's here. She'll do everything. Usually we don't do this here. We do it outside, but we're doing everything here because it's a bit fast. So I asked, okay, how many minutes will I be here? How many hours or something? They said, no, it's a simple thing. We just need to drain because you're bleeding inside. So we just need to drain and see where the bleeding is coming from. It takes about 30 minutes, and everything. So within whatever. And then I checked time. I said, it's fine. Okay. By the time I was saying, okay, I'd already gone. When I woke up, like sometimes you don't remember. If you go through general anesthesia, like you get confused. So now I'm thinking, what time did I come here now? Is this the correct time? Time had already passed, like a longer time had passed. And then I asked, how long have I been here? So they said, oh, yeah, wait, yes, you've been here for some time. I said, but I thought it was just going to be 30 minutes. No, something complicated came up. And then I checked, I was cannulated, maybe I even lost blood, I don't know, but I had more cannulas than the one I went, the normal one.
Cannulas are those cables and wires that you put
in the vein.
Yeah, in the vein.
So I woke up and I'm like, okay, I've been pricked. What happened? Said the doctor will come tell you. So when the doctor came, I mean, I was happy because now I'm not in pain. I said, did everything go well? Yes, everything is fine. Yeah, fine. And I'm like, I'm awake and I'm not feeling the pain. Thank God. For me, I was just saying, Lord, thank you. Yeah. I'll be able to see my kids again. Yeah. So I'm not dead. And then the doctor came and then she sat and she looked at me and she said, Mulenga, your pain can kill. And she just said, pain is pain. When you're feeling pain, say it. Mm-hmm. And you were keeping the pain inside. Because I was not screaming. Yeah, you were not screaming. You were not telling people. I was not telling people. I was not want people to. Oh dear. So they took it like, I can manage the pain. Only after I think the shock happened, that's when now everything, I don't even know what time shock. That's when they say this. That's when it's done on them. Yes, this is just like too much. So they said, when you feel pain, don't undermine it. Say it. Explain. If you need to scream, scream it. It shouldn't take you to a place where your body's in shock. I mean, you're strong. Yes. You felt so much pain that you kept it, and actually the body should not take it. Yes. Such a strong one. So they said, don't hide pain. If you feel it, scream it so that you tell us, you communicate to us. Because if you say, how are you feeling? No, I'm okay. I think it's painful. We don't feel that because we're not feeling your pain. And you could have actually gone if we did not come, if we did not even think about if maybe I didn't go into shock. They were not even going to do the surgery. They're not even going to think I was so much in pain. And then she said, what we found inside there, Mulenga, you have to praise God because you were bleeding. It was just not one torsion. It was double. So my ovary knotted once, and then it knotted another. So that's the tube. Yeah. So there's a tube. So the ovary is connected to the fallopian. Yeah. So because it was big, it had a cyst, and then it grew bigger. So it was heavy. Okay. So it tossed. So it knotted. And then it knotted again. And then it knotted again. So it was a double torsion. So within 24 hours, there was no blood supply to the ovary. So the ovary actually died. So they had to remove everything because they could not save it. It was gone. So they told me, we went in, but we had to remove the surgery. We had to remove your ovary because it had no blood supply because of the double. How did you feel at this time? When she told me, it was a relief. At first? Yes. I was like, so I was not imagining pain. There's something that you feel when you're in pain. You want to be taught there's a problem. Like when you're in pain and then they tell you there's no problem. We did find it. That is a disappointing thing. But for me, I was like, at least you found it and you removed it. But then later on, then I said, actually, I've lost several parts of my body. Yeah. And this is actually what makes me a woman. Yes. And it has been taken away from me. Yeah. It wasn't a good feeling. It's still not a good feeling, but I'm glad it came out and I'm not in pain. And at least my life is spared. That you're alive. Oh my God. It's quite a story. How did your faith sustain you during this time? During when actually the time you felt the weakest? You've talked about prayer. You were praying, and we've seen how God made it possible to get to West End Hospital. But now you, without ovaries, and you're at home. How did it sustain you? Your faith? Or was the faith no longer needed? Trust me, it wasn't. Because now I was thinking, like, because of the things that I've gone through, at first I thought it wasn't fair. I mean, I'm young. And I actually questioned God. And I'm like, what are you trying to teach me? What is it that you're trying to make me understand that I'm not understanding? Maybe if you speak it, then I will know. Otherwise, it's bothering me. But then I actually saw or looked back on the things that I've actually gone through, on the things that I've prayed, and within a short period of time, God answered and just did answer like a swan. He answered in torrents. And this thing have actually come out when others, and actually the lady, when I went back for my review, she looked at me, says, Mega, and you're walking after 10 days. She's an old, my gynae is an old lady. She says, in all my practice when I was in the hospital. I only had 5 cases of this. It's a very rare condition, and I don't even know how it just found you. And mostly are pregnant women, and they died.
Oh.
And now you're walking. And I was like, now imagine, why should I then complain to say, I mean, God, why are you trying to put me through this? When she told me the people that she had experienced, the 5 people that she's had encounters with this condition did survive and they were pregnant. So what is so special about me? And this is just like a humbling experience for me. So you know what? There's something that God has for me. There's something that He wants me to fulfill, because if I was supposed to die, I would have died. Even through this condition that is so rare, it had to come to me and I actually conquered it. It's not me. There's a reason. The devil wanted me to die, but God said, no, it's not a time. And that actually came as a soothing thought. And it actually said, you know what, there's actually more than that.
Did you become depressed after?
Of course.
Did people reach out to you? How did this impact you? Faith community, friends around?
You know, I really appreciate, I'm home away from home. We don't have a relative here in Berlin. But I feel so supported, feel so loved by the people that I'm surrounded with. The church community, the Zambian community, the German community, the Berlin community. It has really been there for me. The surgery happened on Saturday, and it's like the whole church came to my ward.
That same Saturday?
The same Saturday.
Wow.
Just hours after I woke up. That's the whole church. They were just exchanging. They come, they go.
And of course, you didn't tell them what was going on.
No. They knew I was away.
Yeah. So what they being there helped you a lot.
A lot. And they were even asking me, actually even my countenance changed, because when I was looking at the videos, I was saying, did you go through surgery? Like everyone, because I was so happy. Like, it makes you, it was a point of realization that, I'm actually loved. I actually have people who are praying for me.
Yeah.
Genuinely praying for you. Because if it wasn't for their prayers, maybe I wasn't going to make it. The devil really fought. Like, he really fought for my life. But I had a family that prayed. Some are not even Christians, but they prayed with me. To whatever it is, but they really wanted my life to be spared.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would like to talk more about your faith. Because we also need to round this up. I wanted to ask you, what can you tell our viewers? Someone who's going through a health crisis at the moment, or someone whose faith seemed to in a quarters because they're like, God, I'm going through this. Not on camera, but you've told me that you've had a couple of health challenges. So what can you tell them? And to actually face the camera and just talk straight to the camera.
All right.
Yes.
It's actually very hard to pray when you're at your lowest, even when you know that God is there. But that knowing, that same voice that is telling you God is there, pray, even when you don't have the strength to pray, is the faith that is just needed for that healing to be attained, or for that healing to be received. Sometimes we are human and we feel pain and we don't even know how to pray. But trust me, by His stripes were healed. He was actually beaten for us to be healed. And if you have faith, even just that, even when you're doubting, but you know that, He's the one who created you and He can actually touch, He'll heal you. I'm actually a living testimony. At one point, I was even caught, people were joking to say they don't call me die hard for nothing. Yes, because of the things that I have gone through. And it's because they don't call me die hard for nothing. It's because I have a God that actually heals. He actually created you. He even knows where the pain is. So just pray. It might seem like it's taking long, like it has taken long for me to be here, for all the things that I've been going through. But trust me, He will give you, and when He blesses in torrents. He blesses in numbers that you won't even know. Amen. And there's a reason why you're going through that, because when you come and tell somebody that this is what I've gone through, that soul will be saved because of your experience. Amen. And I believe whatever it is that you're going through, it's a testimony that is actually going to bring a lot more to the kingdom of God. So just time it there.
Thank you, Sister Mulenga. I'm so grateful. Actually, it's a privilege for me to hear the story. I, as pastor, had some parts of the story, but I didn't actually know that you had that near death or even death experience. And your story has encouraged me in several bits, I'm telling you. And I think this is also the reason why we do this Faith Abroad, because we get to explore stories and testimonies that otherwise would never be told, especially testimonies coming from immigrants. So if this has touched you, if you've been blessed by the story of Mulenga, reach out. If you're going through something, a challenge or whatever it is, you can also reach out. If you have need for prayers, reach out. I also want to tell you, no matter what you're going through, that God who started the good thing in your life will bring it to an expected end, a good end. Because the God who brought you to Europe, to Germany, wherever you are, is not going to leave you. And that was it from my side, from Faith Abroad. It is Pastor Chigemezi. Until next time, keep holding on. Because the Lord is with you.